Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Giver Marketing Network broadcast. And also want to say a special hello to everybody who's part of the Kingdom Warrior University and the Prepared Group as well. We want to give an honorable mention to some of our power partners and those who are watching this broadcast either live or the recording. So I want to say hello. And Christine, what are we going to be talking about today? I'm so excited.
My goodness, I am going to say this is one of my favorite topics. It's talking about increasing referrals, right? Because I'm all about relationships. I know you're all about relationships, and a lot of our fan base is about relationships. So that's a big deal.
Yes. And you know, I was thinking about this recently. Most businesses in the first, year or two, or even beyond that, have to rely on referrals primarily just to prove the viability of their business. They just need to get moving. So whether you're a startup or you're in your 40th year of business, there's still top of mind. There's a need for us to say, look, how are we doing on the referral side? I'm working with a company right now. Their 44th year in business. We track their referrals. Like, it's really important. They do millions of dollars in revenue. We track their referrals because a small to medium-sized business, they never stop getting referrals. And most larger businesses never stop getting referrals. So why don't we just take that to another level, no matter what stage, whether you're running an agency, leading a nonprofit, own a company of some kind, whatever you're doing, a marketing professional trying to develop into an agency, whatever you're doing, referrals, introductions. These are the type of activities you want to be tracking. So let's talk about how to do that. Let's show some visuals, then we'll have a roundtable discussion here in just a few minutes with some of our members and associates who are part of the Giver Marketing Network and even beyond. So look forward to that. But I'm gonna bring up some visuals for us here, Christine, so we can have talking points for the day. All right. Anything else to add, Christine, as we jump in?
If you're relationship-based, referrals are such a big part of your business. So pay attention. This is going to be a great help for those that are looking for ways to increase their referrals.
Awesome. So we came up with a term a while back called referral ping pong. So we're going to have some fun today. We're going to kind of make this a game. And that's essentially what we did is we started generating more introductions and referrals by making it a game, because some of us take ourselves way too seriously. Like, we need to lighten up, have some fun, hang out with Christine Dean, set up an appointment with her. She'll bring some smiles to your face and make a bunch of money while you're doing it. So here we go. Let's jump into the referral ping pong kind of strategy. But before we begin, just know that if you're a part of the Giver Marketing Network ecosystem, Kingdom Warriors University, the Prepared Group, we're always trying to make positive impact in the world, okay? We bring positive attention to causes and companies doing good in the world. This is the mission of Giver Marketing Network. We will probably never stop doing this. This is the focus of what we're doing, okay, on a day-to-day basis. Today, we happen to be talking about how to do that through a game called Referral Ping Pong. And notice at the bottom it says, hey, you got 3 days to reciprocate. Let's make this fun. Let's make this specific and measurable, and let's try to find a way to where we don't forget about each other. Now, listen, if you can't give an introduction or a referral, but maybe 4 days because it's a holiday weekend or something, look, maybe you call foul, maybe you don't. But the bottom line is you try to give it a time frame. Okay, every micro goal needs a time frame. So this is part of that. Also, want to give some warnings. Okay, some specific warnings about people. There's two types of people in the world, according to one of my mentors. He said, there's givers and there's takers. And you got to be careful, because if you're dealing with someone who's hurting, or they're just not able to reciprocate, they're not able to give back, at best they're receiving, and that's more like a ministry, right? But be careful, beware of the takers who are a little bit more on the narcissistic side. They're out to protect them and their own, and that's it. Like there's no outflow of awesomeness necessarily. It's always taking. They're like a black hole. They just kind of take. So we want to be really careful about this. And listen,
I want to add one more thing to that, Timothy. I want to interrupt. There's also the idea of those that just don't know.
Yep.
They just don't know. They don't necessarily have a malicious intent, or their goal isn't necessarily to take advantage of anybody, but they just don't know how to give a good referral. They don't even know that they should. Right. So if you're going to be their referral partner, you're going to have to do some education there and help them.
Well said. Well said. I like this. And so let's say you're just learning and you're not sure what to do. Great point, Christine. How do we do this well? And a lot of folks are like, well, I already know how to give referrals. My question to you is, do you need more referrals? Because if you use a strategy that is mutually beneficial, we can start really lightening up your calendar. And then we're going to talk about that in a minute. All right. So when you're giving referrals, keyword giving referrals, okay, be intentional. Try to give those valuable introductions and referrals to those who you think would be good power partners, and be reciprocal. They've shown themselves to be people that care about others. They have empathy. They think about others. They collaborate a lot. They tend to naturally give referrals back. But then you're just kind of framing this in a way like, hey, can we be referral partners, right? And so that's the idea here. They generally have healthy boundaries. You should have healthy boundaries. Don't just give randomly to random people unless you feel like you want to do that every once in a blue moon. But it's not going to necessarily. That's more of a ministry. Like you're just giving. There's really no boomerang effect. And so you want to have a strategy around this where there's a receiving, a giving, a receiving, a giving. Business is a two-way street, ladies and gentlemen. Ministry is generally a one-way street. So think about that. There's a lot of ministry leaders and nonprofit leaders out there. So know the difference. And some of us have our foot in both worlds. And I'm primarily in the business world now, but I still find myself, I just want to bless this person. Okay, that's fine every once in a while, and that's needed, and that's fine. But do not make that a business strategy, because you'll end up wearing yourself out. All right.
And I want to also add to that, Timothy. I want to say that we need to, while you're doing it intentionally, it's okay to declare that intention. Yes. And say specifically, hey, why don't we partner up and be referral partners? Let everybody know what those expectations are. And if that's something that's intimidating or they're not ready for, right, they can let you know at that point. But be clear. Let everybody know what you're up to.
That's right. If they're not sure, send them this video. All right. So make it easy. Make it easy to get started. That's kind of, yes. I love that. And listen, some of you folks are like Christine Dean. She ever since she was like 7 years old, she was giving referrals and introductions to people and networking. And she was probably selling things at the county fair and doing all sorts of stuff. Look, we're not all born to do that from an early age, but you can develop some of these things. It's kind of like learning an instrument. It might take a little while, but once you get it, it's beautiful. All right. Branding, visibility, promotion, nurturing is the giver marketing blueprint. And we want to keep that in mind as we're talking about referrals. What category would this fall under? This would probably be under the last two. Promotion of yourself, nurturing of that relationship, power partners, introductions. It's kind of those last two pieces. Okay. So This is an extension of our full LinkedIn classy appointment strategy that we train on periodically. And you'll see that if you look up any of our other videos, you'll see the LinkedIn appointment strategy. It's kind of one of our strong points. It is one of our strong points. And so we leverage LinkedIn as an example of how to give referrals. This is not the only way to do it. This is not the best way to do it for everybody. This is just a way to do it. It happens to have generated thousands and thousands and thousands of referrals in our network, and we're glad to be able to share this with you today. Okay, so LinkedIn is different than Facebook. You can use this strategy on Facebook, but when you're using LinkedIn, you got to pretend like you're dressed up in a suit or a little bit, at least Friday casual, at least that, you know what I mean? Like, let's make sure that we're speaking to the room that we're in, right? So let's make sure that we understand our audience. If it's Facebook, you can be a lot less formal, a lot more relaxed. And we try to bring a little bit of a hybrid. It's super interesting if we're able to do that. Okay. All right. So Christine, let's talk about these 4 buckets. These are the buckets that we find whenever we're reaching out to any audience, any list, any group of people. Let's talk about these just really quickly.
Yeah, when we talk about clients and customers, right? So that's somebody that we're reaching out to for prospects, right? Or maybe we're looking for other team members. Power partners. I love connecting power partners, right? Or maybe it's a preferred vendor, right? These are all people that are hanging out on LinkedIn, right? And remember that LinkedIn is a space where professionals will go and they will put a profile, but not everybody wants to interact. Just to give you a heads up, just because they're on LinkedIn doesn't mean they're like, hey, reach out to me. I know I have a billboard with my face on it, which makes you think I'm wanting you to talk to me, but not necessarily. So just be aware of that going in, that just because they're on LinkedIn doesn't necessarily mean they're looking to make new friends. It happens. Not everybody's like us, Timothy.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So with that, you want to have enough messaging going out to the right people so that you have some folks returning your messaging and you start a dialogue. And so there's a kind of a critical mass you want to consider there. All right. So we have these 4 different buckets, and for purposes of today, we're going to talk about the top one, clients and customers, in relation to how power partners can work together. Okay. So power partners essentially are your paid salespeople. How are you paying them? You're paying them with reciprocation. People say, oh, we're paying them. Oh, you mean 5% of this or 10% of this? Sometimes more, sometimes 20%, 30%. But oftentimes what a power partner really wants is more dynamic, amazing referrals in return. So we're using that language already, the return language. So there's something to be considered there. Here's a question for the audience. For those who are listening, chiming in, rocking it on some of the social channels today, would you rather have $100 as a referral fee that's given to you for giving a referral, or would you rather have 5 referrals in return? $100 or 5 referrals in return? It's a really interesting question. Sometimes you need the $100. Let's be real. But sometimes, depending on what stage of business you're in, you probably want to consider the latter as well. So where are you at with your business? Would you rather have the $100 or 5, introductions / referrals in return? Here's some kind words that folks have said about our LinkedIn strategy. We won't spend too much time on that, but I will say this: the typical results, and Christine, keep an eye on those, on that, the social feeds. I want to see what people are saying. $100 or 5 referrals? Which one would you rather have? All right. 10 to 20 warm phone appointments monthly are easy peasy with the LinkedIn strategy. But when it comes to the referral aspect of the LinkedIn strategy, you'll notice that an average of 30 to 50% introductions will connect as a warm conversation eventually. Like you said earlier, Christine, it's not everybody. Not everybody's going to return your messaging. Facebook has probably a higher return of messaging rate. However, they're a different audience generally. They're a more broad audience. I view Facebook as the world directory, and I view LinkedIn as the business directory of the world.
Well said.
you can kind of think of it that way. And if you get 20, 30, 40, 50% return of your messaging, then now you're in a dialogue. And when we're in the business of attention and conversation as marketing professionals, dialogue is good. Say that in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen. Say that in the comments. Dialogue is good. That's where we don't want bots to take care of everything for us. Okay, we want the human touch on everything. And you can start conversations with technology, but you definitely got to jump in and make sure the dialogue is real and genuine and continues on. Okay, there's always going to be a human touch in everything we do. All right, if your calendar is color coordinated like mine is, and you end up with a bunch of appointments, you'll notice that everything in green actually came from a strategy very similar to this. Okay, it's a mixture of LinkedIn plus this referral strategy. So how did this happen, Christine? This is what we did. Okay, so ultimately, when it comes right down to it, there are sections of these social channels. This is just LinkedIn. You can do this in Facebook. You can do this other channels, all sorts of other social media channels. Okay, you can do this in text messaging if you want. Like, doesn't matter where it is, as long as you can get a hold of two people and put them in a group conversation with you. That's the main thing. Okay, so on LinkedIn, there's a very little known approach to LinkedIn. I've only seen probably 5-10% of the people I meet know how to do this. And so this is kind of the pulling back the curtain. This is how you make an introduction on LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen. You turn it into a group conversation. That way there's a social pressure to follow through on that conversation. Goodness gracious. You walk over to somebody at a networking meeting. You tell me, Christine, you're the networking diva. You walk over to a networking meeting and you introduce one person to another. Do you stick around for a couple of minutes or a few seconds? Or do you just put them together and just run away? Like, how do you do this? Like, what's the social?
Normally, you kind of nurture the relationship a little bit, right? You want to be involved in the process just a little bit, but not too hovering, right? So you kind of make sure everybody's getting along, and then you can kind of back out. Same thing with your LinkedIn messages.
That's it. So you basically click on message, and then the button where you can edit or start a message. What is that button called? I'm trying to remember. Number 2 there on the screen. It's where you're basically transcribing or writing a message. And once you click on that, you're able to add more than one name. I don't know if you knew this on LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen, but you can add more than one name. So instead of me just sending a message to Christine, I can send a message to Christine and Oz, who will be on the broadcast here in a few minutes. So that is a 3-way conversation at that point. Then the question is, well, what do you do? Well, we recommend. Go ahead, Christine.
Put a title on it. Don't forget, there's a spot to also add a title. So you can do introduction. I mean, it sounds really original, but at least it clearly identifies people like, oh, right. Or referral or whatever it is, right? And people are like, oh, that catches their attention.
Yep. There's a lot of space for just bringing clarity and intention to that message. I see folks doing that quite often, and it helps in many cases. So good tip. I love that tip. Another tip is to use the @ symbol or the tag symbol down in your message. And sometimes this is a little difficult on a mobile device, but it still works. So you're able to actually tag each person in the message itself. So if it's not clear to the person, like, we have a group conversation happening here, which it's pretty clear, quite frankly. But at the same time, if you tag them at the bottom, they can easily click on their profile right from the message and go right over and do a little research and see if they want to connect with that person. If you do that, you'll get so many more clicks over to your friend's profile that you're introducing. And so at that point, you have friends connecting with friends, and they're checking each other's profiles out. You don't have to say as much at that point because they're big boys and girls. They can go look at each other's profiles and see if they even want to. It almost feels like dating or something. Like you're just like making an introduction. Do they even like find value in having a conversation? Will they do business together? Will there be a mutual benefit? This kind of thing is what you want to think about. Okay. Don't make
And I want
random
to
introductions to just anybody. All right, go ahead.
I'm going to jump in on some words of caution. When you start putting a group together, 3 is great. You've got you, the 2 people you're introducing. When you start doing too many people in the group, what happens though is LinkedIn lists all the names and they get cut off. So you don't always end up knowing everybody that's in the group. So if you don't do too big of a group, because it really does become a problem because we don't know who's in there. And so you're like, I don't know these people. I can't see the names. I don't know who they are. I can't, like you said, I can't tag them. I can't hit that button, the @ symbol, and like, where are they? I can't get to them easily, right? So it gets really confusing. So just keep those groups really small if you're going to do those group messages.
Great tip. Yeah, there's got to be a real reason to add more than you and 2 other people. And there are situations where that makes sense. You all met each other at a mastermind, or you all met, you're all connected to one particular person and you want to make, 2 or 3 introductions or something. But even then, the quality and the social pressure of that actually creating an appointment starts lowering as you add more and more and more people. It starts lowering the results. And so there's got to be a real reason. Good job, Christine. Nice tip there. Appreciate that. Your inbox will light up if you use this strategy. If you simply start messaging folks and then asking for them, or creating group introductions and then asking them to do the same. Okay. If you just simply ask for that, both of your inboxes should light up. And notice there's 2 faces minimum, because you have 3 people in the group, but you're the one that introduced them. You'll notice on your inbox there will be 2 faces instead of 1. So this will indicate to you that this is a group message. So it's pretty clear, it's pretty direct, it's pretty. But notice here at the top, we still have at the top of the screen, we still have 2 names here: Timothy Morgan and then Brian, that was introduced to David. Okay, and so we have these like tags happening all over inside of the messaging. It helps tremendously because people can check each other's profile out. Okay, so a little bit of a difference there in the inbox. As we wrap up, I wanted to, folks always ask for like the language or the scripting or the swipe files or this. Well, this video is your swipe file. Okay, like this is it. Like just grab the language, pause here, take a screenshot, use OCR to even grab the language here. Use your own version of this if you want. Do whatever you need to do with this. We're actually sharing with you the actual language that we use, okay? And this works tremendously. All right, so like we said, @ name, meet @ other name. So in this case, Christine Dean, @ Christine Dean, meet @ Joel Thiessen, like just as an example, right? Joel Thiessen. So meet Joel Thiessen. Your names came to mind after a recent conversation. If the connection hasn't been made yet, I'll consider it done. Glad to introduce professionals doing good in the world. This is a light referral or a heavy introduction. It's like, hey, hint, 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 you should set something up. And then down below, you can even put a little hint like, set a call with each other. ? Like, is that something you guys want to do? Or like, are you in business? Do you want to make power partners connections? Or are you sleepy time and don't really want to make connections? Like I don't know. Like sometimes it's a good fit. Rarely it's not, but you want to definitely have intention with your introductions. Any thoughts on that, Christine?
I go even deeper. You had to know that was coming, though, right?
Yep.
I won't just do, you 2 came to mind. It's usually I will tell somebody why they want to talk to the other person, and I do that from both perspectives, right? So it might be, Joel is great with customer service, and Christine, I know you've been working on creating your success plan with customers. I think you 2 could have a fascinating conversation. Hopefully you can find time to chat. Right. So I'll actually go in and say why each person would be interested in talking to each other. Because then it's like, oh, that really is somebody I want to talk to. As opposed to, oh, we might have some things in common. That's nice. I'll get to that later. Right. So if you make it seem like something like they're actually interested in, then there's a reason to consider it important.
Yes. So there's a happy medium here. There's a balance here. You want to give enough information where it's interesting. And it's like, it's meaningful and it makes sense. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not an email introduction. Okay. A lot of emails will end up with like 4 paragraphs of why this person should meet this person. Like that's I appreciate that sometimes, not often, but sometimes I do appreciate that on an email when I do check my email. But when it comes to LinkedIn, you want to have that happy medium. It's either really short or it's a little bit of extra goodies in there, like Christine was saying, and it brings a little bit more context, especially when you know you have a need. When you know somebody has a need, like Christine was talking about, that is I would call that a really like a really quality referral. This what we have on the screen is a little bit more of a light referral or a heavy introduction. That's really more of just a.
Right. If you think about it, when you've opened your messages and there's a big long message, you're like, I don't have time for that right now. I'll get back to that later. And later may or may not come anytime soon. So yeah.
That is a good point. All right. So before we wrap up today, I want to give you a couple of quick tips on how to respond in a group message, whether this is in text, whether this is in LinkedIn, another social platform, even email. You can use these same principles. You just might have more context that you have to give in an email, right? Or a text. All right. So that's what I love about social media is there's already context built in. You already see their profile picture, what they do, what their history is, a little bit about their, maybe even their, like, depending on what platform, maybe a little bit about their personal life, business life. Like you get a vibe for like what they actually focus on. But either way, once the introduction is made, listen closely. Once the introduction is made, there is an honor that needs to be given to the person who made the introduction. Do not skip this step. That indicates you might be either nervous or a narcissist or like you're just a taker. Like, do not skip this step. If you can at all help it, okay? Thanks so much for introducing us. You are such a connector. Affirm what just happened. Remember the phrase, what's praised is repeated. Write that down, ladies and gentlemen. What's praised is repeated. So whenever you say thank you or appreciate this or wow, you're a rock star, any kind of affirmation, any kind of praise, whatever is praised is repeated. So at the top, and I always start with the person who made the introduction at the top. I'm like, hey, Christine Dean, thank you so much for introducing me to Joel. Really, you're a rock star, that kind of thing. And then on the down right below it, at Joel or whoever it is, super excited, look for a direct message so we can set something up. You can embellish this a little bit, add a few words here and there, but ladies and gentlemen, do not make this a novel. Do not write a full page of why this is not a good fit or why this is a good fit. Just be big boys and girls and go over to private messaging or direct messaging and figure it out together. This is at the point where we're starting to back out of the conversation, right, Christine? Like you were talking about earlier. It's not like you're totally gone. You're still seeing the messaging. You still kind of get to see what's going on, but you're just not highly involved anymore. Right.
Right. And if you see that somebody hasn't responded, you can always tag them again so it gets bumped back up, right? Maybe they were out of town, maybe they're on vacation, right? That happens. It's okay. But since you're in there, if you can see nobody's responded, you can hit that little tag button again and get things rolling.
Come on. I love that. And look, I'm guilty of this because we started this strategy and all of a sudden hundreds and hundreds of introductions and referrals are going back and forth. And I've missed a few. Don't nobody call me out when we get in the roundtable. Please do not call me out because I've tried to keep up. I've even had to bring assistants in to try to help make sure I don't miss these. And then LinkedIn, every once in a while, like every 2 months, all of a sudden there's a bunch of messages that literally they get marked as read. And I didn't realize that they were sitting there in my inbox. So do the best you can. Apologize if you miss a message. Be big boys and girls. Have emotional intelligence and say, look, I got you. I'll hit you up with a few extra referrals. I apologize. I didn't see that message. I'll definitely follow up better next time. Just do the best you can with the time you have and the attention that you have. But spend a little bit of time in your inbox at least every other day, at least 30 to 40 minutes every other day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is fine during the week. It doesn't need to. That's what's great about this strategy. You find a power partner. And it takes 30 minutes on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's it. Now, once your inbox starts lighting up, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but you're literally booking appointments. Like that's what you're doing. So if you don't want appointments, this strategy is not for you. Like it's the wrong strategy. All right, Christine, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about some of these messages? This is really a style thing. This is the message to book the appointment when you're on a direct message with the person that was referred to you. This is the message you want to send them to book the appointment, right? So any thoughts on this? Style differences, something to consider? What do you got for this one?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can phrase this, keep it kind of friendly, and make it more your personality, right? I'll say, okay, so excited to talk to you. Your booking link or mine, right?
Come
And
on.
so
Like,
if they don't have a booking link, then be like, oh, we can just use yours. Or maybe they don't want whatever, right? Whatever that reason is, or they know theirs is full, right? And they want to see yours. It's kind of a gentle way of them saying, I don't have a booking link. It's not everybody does. But I find that so convenient when you've got those. It's a game changer, right? But sometimes my calendar gets really full, and I know you've been like, Christine, you don't have any openings for 3 weeks. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm busy, okay? I'm not trying to avoid you, right?
yeah.
But sometimes be like, all right, Timothy, give me your calendar. Let me see if I can squeeze something in there, right? So it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not a one-upmanship on whose calendar you use. It's okay.
Yes, I love that perspective. It's a perspective of humility but confidence. Like we want to book an appointment. Which calendar are you thinking? Like I have one, or here's mine, or you can just send me yours if that's easier. Totally. I love that. I love that. So you can play with this language, but here's the key. Drop the person's name for sure that introduced you. I'm glad Christine Dean connected us. So glad, so we don't play phone tag or whatever. Actually, in today's world, you don't even need to say that phrase anymore. This was a training from a while ago, and it's like people already know. Like if they're in the business world and you don't have a scheduler link, I'm sorry, but you ain't in business. Like honestly, like you're just starting, you're just practicing. Like get yourself a stinking scheduler link so that people can honor your time, you can honor their time. And
You
I'm
know,
sorry.
Not
I'm not being
everybody's a fan of
oversee.
scheduling links. I get it. There's people that purposely do not have them, and that's okay. I'll respect your business style. But it's going to take a while for us to go back and forth on how about this? How about this date? How about this time? I just find it to be so much more efficient with the scheduler. I'm with you, Timothy. I do. If you need help setting something like this up and you're kind of intimidated, reach out. We
Yes.
can give you some advice on that. It's okay. I promise it's not that painful.
Good point. Nice. I tell you what, Christine Dean has helped many of us in our network setting up schedulers. There's been a few others that have kind of helped as well. But talk to Christine, ask her how in the world do I set all this up, and we'll make sure you're dialed in. Notice that the scheduler link here on the screen right now has a name in it. I prefer, at least in the beginning, to, if you can, include your name, because you're a person trying to talk to a person. You're not pitching them anything yet. They should be able to check out your profile and know what you do in a way that's building trust. And so when the time comes to ask them for a decision outside of booking an appointment, you can bring in your company name. You can let them know what you do, why you do it, what your superpowers are. You can do that later. But for this first meeting, we recommend keeping it pretty short, making it personal, including your name. We recommend 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max for this first meeting, because we don't know the caliber of appointment. Now, if you know for sure this is a rock star and you want to get an appointment with them, you can make it a 30-minute meeting or something like that. But when you start giving away 45 minutes, 60 minutes, I've seen 90 minutes of your time just to anybody who books an appointment with you, whoever has the scheduler link. Now we're talking about you're devaluing your time, and you're assuming that the other person on the other end has a bunch of time to pour into an initial meeting. That's rough. That's pretty tough. So keep it fairly short, make it personal, include your name, and you should be good to go. Okay.
I'm going to add one more thing on the calendar link. I add branding to mine. I actually embedded mine on my website. So when I give people the link, they're actually getting the link to my website and the embedded calendar on there. So it literally has DFW Networking Divas /discovery call, right? So that's actually the link I give everybody. This
Okay,
way,
so
after they book, they're already at my website. So if they want to hang out a little bit, check things out, I might have some freebie stuff at the bottom of it afterwards. So I have my own custom thank you page that I send them back to saying thank you for booking, and it's on my website. So just some ideas for branding if you're thinking about doing something a little different.
yeah, so there's a couple of options for you, whether you want to do kind of that personal touch or if you want to go a little bit more of the branded style. The different companies have different stages that they're in. Also, if you have team members who are taking calls for you when you're not available for some reason, like as an emergency backup, or maybe your partner kind of have a roundtable kind of thing, you definitely want to use that branded link for sure. Okay, good. So at this point, we want to ask the audience, the folks in the green room, to come on stage with us. Turn your cameras on. We're going to rock this together, and we're going to ask the audience any questions about introductions or referrals, these golden referrals and introductions that come into our inboxes. What questions do you have about anything from the language to the style to the how do we know if it's a quality introduction? There was a kind of a hint there from Oz saying, hey, I'll I'll answer the question of $100 or 5 referrals, but he said, always, what did you say, Oz? Always 5 referrals, but only good ones, please.
Right. I'm glad Ken's here. I'm sure he's got some opinions on this too, because it's like, oh
Yes.
yeah.
Good. Well, we got Shamika, we got David with us, aka Oz. We got Ken Cook, of course. Christine, you're a networking diva, so we wanna just have a roundtable discussion today about how do we make sure and keep that pipeline of introductions and referrals high, and what are some of the style? What are the preferences? We just talked about the first principles today, and maybe a little bit of preference around the language, but going deeper, what are the preferences that you prefer? What are the questions you've been asking yourself when it comes to introductions and referrals? Let's just go around the horn. Who wants to go first?
I'll start. I think the biggest thing that we look at when we're looking around referrals is really who has that audience before you and who has the audience after you.
Okay. To explain more of that, explain more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say, marketing agency, we found that a really good referral partner was someone who had customers both before and after us, was somebody who did operational consulting. Because they'd be doing some operational work and they'd find, hey, there's a real marketing problem here. Or we'd be doing marketing work and we'd say, there's some real operational problems here. In fact, we were doing a job years ago for a franchise, and they came to us and they said, hey, who do you know who could write all of our franchise docs for us? And I said, oh, our operational consultant that we've worked with for 8 or 10 years now, it would be perfect. Made the referral. It was probably a $30,000, $45,000 job, right? Everybody was pleased, and that person and I think we've probably passed over $100,000 worth of business easily between each other. And it's just with that principle of, well, who has them before me and who has them after me?
Great question. I like how this is starting. Goodness gracious. That's a way to start it, Ken Cook. Love it. Hey, Ken Cook's from the Prepared Group. So if y'all are a part of any kind of growing marketing agency, someone who's leading a team that is about to blow up and they need some help around their structure for their marketing endeavor, Ken Cook's the guy you want to talk to for sure, because they've kind of mixed this operations meets marketing agency awesomeness, and they have this strategy all around how to grow your agent. So it's super fun. All right, Shamika, what do you got as far as introductions, referrals, questions, thoughts? What do you think?
So I think for referrals, it's really good to keep in mind like what each people in your network does. And a good way to do that when you're starting out is like a simple spreadsheet, right? Christine will say like, get a CRM, because like eventually you're going to need it. But like, if you don't know what the other person does, or you forget, because like you have 100 or 200 people, then you're not going to be able to make good introductions and referrals.
Good point. Really good point. So quality and insight to who you're connecting with who. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's what you're hearing, because like, if I connect you with like another marketer who does something that you do, then you're like, why the heck did she even put us together? So you have to be thoughtful and not waste people's time. That might sound a little bit harsh, but once you're making good connections, then people will think of you in a positive light, and they'll want to make introductions to you.
Okay. Okay. And different folks have like a different capacity. And so there's like this, and also different skill sets. Like if I send certain people over to you, Shamika, it sounds to me like you want someone who's pretty much a good fit, maybe already prepared for the conversation, and it's a truly a high quality, like a 8 or a 9 out of 10 as far as quality of referral. Whereas if somebody were to send an introduction to me, I'm actually looking for other marketing professionals to talk to. And sometimes that's not always like known with a power partner unless you explain that to them. Like, look, I run a network of marketing professionals. So I need to meet more marketing professionals. Even though I'm technically in the marketing space, I do have a few projects I work on myself, but for the most part, I spend most of my time building a network of marketing people who have superpowers. So I need to be introduced to folks who are actually in my space. It's kind of a weird thing, but you got to ask more questions to each other. Ask, like, what's a good referral?
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't ask people that you're on the phone with or on a Zoom with what a good referral is for you, you may not be in that power partnership very long. Like that is a business right, Christine? It's networking 101. Like ask
Right.
people what they actually would love as a referral. And I
Yeah,
think that's
Shamika makes a great point, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily want to work with other people in your field, but some of us are actually looking for it. I'm like, introduce me to other marketers. We always find a way to collaborate. Love it, right? But not everybody's like, nope, I want to meet, right? And if you're industry specific that you like to work with, maybe that's the kind of referral that you'd prefer, right? But until you tell somebody what you want, they can't read your mind. You got to tell them.
come
Teach
on.
your referral partners how to give you referrals. Teach them who you're looking for, who you want to meet, and the best way to introduce you.
Write that down, ladies and gentlemen. Teach your referral partners how to be a blessing. Like just teach them how to be a good referral partner. Love that. Oz, I'm going to unmute because we had a little bit of background noise from somebody. I don't know who that was earlier, but Oz, you are ready to rock. If you have any thoughts, ideas, you are a referral machine. And oftentimes what ends up happening, I notice with you, is you give a lot of referrals and then people end up blessing you in other ways. Can you speak to the fact that you've gotten memberships to organizations, you've gotten extra goodies or, ways to collaborate and so many other different ways. And you're using almost like referrals as a currency. You're almost using that as like hey, don't forget about me and this project, or don't forget about me and this group, or don't forget about me and this. You've leveraged some pretty amazing business strategies around just giving referrals.
Well, it's all part of giving and learning how to receive, which has always been a bit of a challenge to me. I love giving, and I was getting yelled at pretty regularly by friends of mine that said you really do need to know what to ask for and actually ask for it. Don't just continue to give referrals. But I was giggling through your presentation with Christine because I know you both so well, and I have received so many of that messages from you, Tim, exactly the way you wrote them. Like, okay, all right, this is great. And the thing that you said, and I want to read this exactly the way you said it, because this is so important. What's praised is repeated. Always thank the referral person first. And I've always done that naturally, but I don't know that it comes naturally to a lot of people, where you get this referral and you want to immediately contact them, never, ever, ever forget who sent it to you. All right. It's the most damning thing and we're all human beings, where if you're on a networking meeting and somebody is boasting about this great referral they got and how much money they made, and you sent it to them and you're on the screen with them and they don't even mention you. Don't be that person. Do not ever be that person, because then you sit there going, I'm not giving him any more referrals. He just said he made 10 grand and hasn't even mentioned my name, so that other people know that I'm a good referral partner. So, giving and receiving is very important. And, I kind of sit somewhere in the middle along the lines of what Christine was doing. When I have one-to-ones with people, and I don't have as many as I used to because I'm getting busy, because Christine keeps giving me homework, is when you're on a one-to-one, listen for what that person needs. Ask them, who are your COIs, your centers of influence? Because a lot of people don't know. And the people drive me crazy that I can't help when I say, I can help every business owner. I don't know every business owner. Give me a specific. And then I'll give them an example. Okay, I'm looking for interior designers who deal with high net worth clients. I'm looking for boutique travel agency owners. I'm looking for money managers that can partner with me and Tim. Be specific in your asks when people ask you who your referral partners are, and hold them to that. Don't say, okay, I kind of understand who your referral partners are, if you don't. So as important it is in being specific with your ask, make sure you are training your referral partners to ask exactly for what they need so that you can provide what they want. And the way Christine was saying it earlier, I don't like doing generic connections. And Tim, I send connections all the time. There's one in your inbox now and you're going to like him. Be a little bit specific. Do one short paragraph. Here's the reason why I'm connecting you guys. Or, Christine is great. She's my marketing diva. You really need to talk to her. Make sure that somebody has an inclination of why they're being connected to this person, or they might just ignore it and leave a lot of money on the table.
That's a good point. So there's that happy balance there. We gotta really leverage our own voice, our personality. How does this work? Make sure that it's benefiting the person that we're introducing. I love that. But
wait. On the other hand, and Tim, you touched on this too. I have one particular friend who, Tim, you will meet at some point, who sends 4-paragraph emails on why I should be meeting this person, generally cutting and pasting part of my bio and part of theirs. And I hate that. I really do, because I know what my bio says. All right. I don't need to reread it in a connection request. So don't be that guy either. Just give a short paragraph on why you're connecting them and let them run with it.
So this gets into some nerdy psychology, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not pretend like it doesn't. Like it does give us food for thought. We would love to hear your comments in the social feeds. We got one comment already, a couple of others coming in even right now, and so we'll be reading those in just a minute. But here's something to consider. If you give too much information, somebody can write that introduction off as not necessary, but you have seen something. You have made a connection. There is some value in this for some reason. It may not even be something that can be found on a bio. It might be somebody like, for example, a lot of people introduce me to other people of faith because I know there's a spark there. There's a fire there. There's something there around my background. And it may not even be on my bio in that particular way. But if somebody can just give a little clue to your point, Oz and Christine, of like, you guys are both people of faith, I highly recommend you connect because I could see some amazing things happening. That's all you need is like just a little spark. Like I think it was, who was it that said something about a spark? Oh, Jim Padilla in the comments. Christine, let's read that or bring that up on the screen. That's an interesting comment that he made. He's become a good friend and helping with some sales kind of mindsets. Let's see if I can find it. Here, I'll show it. Let's see if it'll come up. Here it is. I like to do these great suggestions. Or yeah, he's just agreeing with some of the things. He said, I also usually create a quick video and explain exactly what sparked the intro. We don't need a roaring fire, ladies and gentlemen. We just need a little spark, because we're gonna the two people you're connecting are gonna create the fuel. You're just trying to create a spark, and I love that imagery. And whether you're using a quick video or a quick written out text, make it classy, make it very very short and sweet. And look, your big boys and girls, figure this out. But I just wanted to make your names came to mind for a reason. So here's the reason. Boom, done. I like what's being said here. I think there's a psychology in that if you give them a little spark, you'll be good. But if you give them too much, they might write off the fact that you're sitting there writing them a novel about each other, and they will assume that they can't do business, or they shouldn't do business with somebody based on something you just copied and pasted over. And it's like, maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. It just depends on personality and some different things too. But I just want to be the caution of the two extremes, right? Don't say too little. Don't say too much. Give it that nice, sweet spot, right? And if you need
I love Jim's idea about the video intros. I've seen those done really well, and I've seen them done really bad, right? So be very clear and concise what your goal is if you're going to do the video, right? Because nobody wants to listen to you ramble.
Let's land the plane and talk about those videos just for a second, and really wrap up our session today. If the video can be embedded in the platform that you're in. Some people are like, what in the world did he just say? Look, if you're a marketing professional, you know exactly what I just said. If you can click on the video and it can play right there in the platform, whether it's on LinkedIn or some other place, then you're good to go. Make it personalized. Hey, Christine, meet Joel. Joel, or Christine, meet Oz. Oz, meet Christine. Your names came to mind because of this XYZ. Good luck, your big boys and girls. Figure out a way to get on each other's calendars. I'm so excited to hear how it goes, and I do want to hear how it goes. Super. Have a great time. Boom. Send the video. It's personalized and it's embedded. They can click on it right within the platform. If you have to click like 3 times to get over to the video, I'm sorry. That's probably not. That's not best. It could still work, but it's not optimal. So I know Jim has the technology to make that work, and he knows what he's doing. He's a marketing and sales genius. So I assume that, but I want to clarify that. Some people will take some third-party video producing platform, make some generic video saying, hey, you guys seem like you're awesome. Good luck. And like, you didn't mention their names. You didn't mention why. Like, it's a generic video, and then they have to click like 3 times to go find out where this video is, and it's not embedded. It causes a little bit of a mess. So if you're going to do that, make sure that it can play right there inside of the message. Okay. All right. God bless you guys. Any other thoughts as we rock and roll? We're going to see you not only next week, but we have a special thing we're doing tomorrow. Christine, do you want to mention that?
We do. On Wednesdays, we have networking for marketers. So don't be a lonelypreneur. If you're an agency wanting to meet other agency owners or other marketers on the team, come hang out with us. There's no reason to do this alone. We weren't meant to walk this earth alone. So come hang out with us on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific. I always mess this up, and you know I do, Timothy. 10 a.m. Central and 11 o'clock East Coast. So come hang out. It's givermarketing.com/networking, and register once, and then just come hang out with us. You don't have to be an official Giver Marketing member to be part of us. Just come. Let us love on you.
Love it. Givermarketing.com, which is the website, /networking. Just remember the word networking, and you should be good to go. So God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, or at the very least next week. Talk to you soon.